The most dangerous player in college football plays at Boise State? Welcome into Verts. I am Harrison Graham. This is a channel where we talk about the latest college football and NFL storylines. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty, who is having an absolutely historic start to the 2024 season. If you love college football, if you love the NFL, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and keep the comment section lit up about your favorite teams and everything else. Okay. Ashton Jeanty at Boise State, 4 games into the season, he has 845 yards, 82 carries, quick math, 10.3 yards per carry, 13 touchdowns. That's a great season, the yards and touchdowns. That is a historic 4 games. And I do mean historic when you're talking about Ashton Jeanty, Boise State. Who the hell is Ashton Jeanty? Well, that's what I'm going to tell you about here on today's show, because this guy is averaging 211 rushing yards per game. And I was like, okay, I get this is a torrid start, but let's just average this out over 12 games, because that's the length of Boise State's regular season. Chances are they'll play 14 games because they're going to make the Mountain West Championship game, barring something surprising, and either a college football playoff appearance, which we'll talk about a little bit later, or at least a bowl game, which would be 14 games. But we're not going to do math for 14 games. 12-game pace, 246 carries, 2,535 yards, and 39 touchdowns. That is what this guy is on pace to do at this point in his the season. Let me repeat, 2,500 plus yards, 39 touchdowns. This is historic. I mean, for one, running backs don't put up crazy numbers like this typically anymore because most teams go with a committee approach. And two, even running backs who are bell cows will have, a crazy season will be like 1,700 yards, right? 2,500, and again, that doesn't include a Mountain West Championship game and a potential bowl game. What this guy is doing is something we have not seen in a very, very long time. And oh, by the way, he's doing it listed at 5'9", 215, and I've heard rumors that he's really more like 5'7". And you watch this guy play, breaking tackles, contact balance, what he's able to do in space. He can run away from defenders. This guy is incredible. And we haven't seen a season like this, if he continues this pace, since, I don't know, some guy by the name of Barry Sanders. Ever hear of him? Played at Oklahoma State in 1988 when he won the Heisman in 11 games. Had 344 carries for 2,600 plus yards and 37 touchdowns. And you might say, well, Jeanty's going to play at least 12, could play 14, so it's not apples to apples. Well, here's where I'll push back. Ashton Jeanty is averaging 10.3 yards per carry. Barry Sanders averaged 7.6. Not taking anything away from Barry. He did it for a whole season, more physical era, played in a bigger conference. I get all that. But Jeanty is averaging a first down every time he touches the football. I mean, think about what we're saying there. Every time he touches the football, he is averaging a first down. I don't think you can undervalue and underestimate what this guy is doing. This is one of the most historic starts to a season we have ever seen. This is coming off a 1,300-yard season last year. He's going to cross that in 2 weeks at this pace. I mean, I would encourage everybody to go watch Boise State when you get a chance. Just look up his highlights after you finish this YouTube video. Ashton Jeanty highlights. He is a phenomenal watch. An absolutely phenomenal watch. And I already know, Harrison, he's playing at Boise State. They're playing bums every single week. You can't compare him to Barry Sanders. Okay, so through 4 games, their toughest game has been Oregon, who a lot of people picked to be in the national championship game. I know they haven't played as great to start this year, but they're loaded. What did he do? 25 carries, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns, almost 8 yards per carry. And that was in a game where Boise State's quarterback went 17 for 40. So Oregon knew the only big-time threat for Boise's offense was Ashton Jeanty, and he still rushed for 200 yards. I mean, what this guy is doing week in and week out, we have not seen it in a very, very long time, and potentially ever if he keeps this up. And also, by the way, they hammered Washington State, who I get it is not in a power conference technically anymore, but last year they won 8 games in the Pac-12. They still have good players. Rushed for over 200 yards. He is competition proof. I would say he is the best running back in the country, and I'm not sure it's that close. And by the way, how about this stat? Don't believe me? Oh, the competition. He's got 587 yards after contact. That would be top 10 in the country for total rushing yards for a running back. So this guy there's no way you can diminish what he's doing, because every single week he is putting up numbers and doing things that we have not seen. I mean, think about the on-pace numbers through 12 games. 2,500 yards, 39 touchdowns. If he plays in 14 games, which that is very much on the table, he's got an outside shot on this pace to rush for 3,000 yards and 45 touchdowns. Now, I'd be shocked if he pulled that off, but if he rushes for well over 2,000 and over 30 touchdowns, I mean, it's one of the greatest seasons in the history of college football. And I think it needs to be discussed. I think it needs to be celebrated. This guy should be a lock to end up at the Heisman Trophy ceremony. I would make a strong argument that he's a top 3 guy right now. And if he was playing at Texas instead of Boise State, he'd probably be the front runner. Now, Travis Hunter playing both ways. Jalen Milroe at Alabama, they're obviously very worthy candidates as well. But this feels like those two, Jeanty and Cam Ward, are like the clear top 4. And it's why I want to see Boise keep winning. I think if they win out, win the Mountain West Championship game, go 12-1, I think that would get them to the college football playoff. They play UNLV, I believe, here in a few weeks. They're undefeated in the Mountain West. The highest ranked Group of 5 team gets into the CFP. And Jeanty already proved against Oregon he belongs on the big stage. I want to see him on the big stage again. And that's the beauty of this new playoff system. Most years, a group of 5 teams not going to be able to compete, most likely, in a playoff game. But you get a player like this or a quarterback who's crazy dynamic at a G5, it only takes one crazy game to pull off an upset. There's a scenario where Boise catches the right opponent and Jeanty runs wild. I would not rule that out at all. We already saw it against Oregon. They put up 34 points and lost by 3. If Boise wins out, they should be in the college football playoff. That's my take on this. And I want to see Ashton Jeanty on this stage. I think it would be great for college football, and it would be a great first year of the 12-team playoff to see a player of this caliber under the bright lights in the college football playoff for a chance to play for a national championship. So I hope it happens. I hope this continues. I would encourage you to watch him. This is a guy out of Frisco, Texas. None of the big schools in the South wanted him. Had 7 scholarship offers. One of those was from Dartmouth, by the way, and only 1 Power 5 offer from Cal. Settled on Boise, and I'd say it's been a good decision for him because he's putting up historic numbers there. I've heard he could be a second-round pick despite being undersized. This kid's special. Special. And by the way, he catches the ball well, too. They haven't thrown it to him much this year. I think he has like 6 catches. Last year, he had over 500 yards receiving. So at the NFL level, I don't know if he's going to be an every down back, but I think he could be a great third down back, great number 2. He's going to be good in the NFL, and at the college level, he is special. Absolutely special player. So kudos to Ashton Jeanty. I did want to show him some love because he's been an absolute entertaining watch. Coming up next, we'll take a look at college football week 6. I will make my picks against the spread. Before we do that, though, who's your vote for Heisman right now? We just entered the month of October, 5 weeks into the season. Who do you got winning the Heisman Trophy right now? Let me know in the comments again. I think Travis Hunter, Jeanty, Jalen Milroe, those are all acceptable answers. I'd love to see Jeanty in the mix because he's been fantastic. And don't forget to subscribe if you want more college football content. We need more college football subscribers. We have more NFL subscribers right now, so the content has kind of leaned that way. But I would like to continue to do more college content. And if you want that, subscribe today, and we'll keep doing it. All right, we'll get to my college football week 6 picks. I'm 14-11 against the spread so far this year, so enjoying some success. So if you want to tail my picks this week, feel free to do so. All right, top 25 matchup in a week that's not that loaded. This is a pretty good one. Number 9, Missouri at number 25, Texas A&M. The Aggies, a 2.5-point favorite. I'm going to go Mizzou winning outright here. I like this being an early game. I think if it was at night under the lights at Kyle Field, environment would be a little more raucous. But I'm going to go Mizzou, who hasn't played great this year, but neither is Texas A&M. I watched them against Notre Dame in a big-time top 25 game in week 1. It just kind of fold. I like Mizzou getting points. Luther Burden is a fantastic receiver. An opportunity for that offense to really get going. It's been a little hit and miss this year, but with Ole Miss dropping a game last week, Mizzou has a chance to kind of move up the pecking order in the SEC to try and be a college football playoff team. A win at Texas A&M would go a long way, and for the Aggies, obviously, to get back into that CFP discussion, they really need to win this game. Give me Mizzou, they win outright. Iowa at number 3, Ohio State. Kind of went back and forth about Iowa potentially covering because they do have a good defense, but their offense just isn't very good, and Ohio State is just so loaded. Jeremiah Smith is awesome. Will Howard's taking care of the ball. Obviously, they can run the ball with Judkins and Henderson. Give me the Bucks to cover. 31-10. I just don't see how Iowa scores enough, and eventually the Buckeyes are going to put up points. They're at home. If it was at Iowa, I'd feel differently with the cover, but in Columbus, I like Ohio State to pull away. I could see this being a little tricky in the first half, but eventually the Buckeyes will prevail and they will cover. Number 12, Ole Miss at South Carolina, who's had an interesting start to the season. They smoked Kentucky, which had everyone thinking, oh, Kentucky must be down this year. I think Kentucky almost beats Georgia, then beats Ole Miss. So that South Carolina 25-point win over Kentucky is looking pretty good. They're a 9-point dog at home. I would normally love them in this spot, but I got to think Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss bounce back in a major way. That was a pretty bad loss to lose at home to Kentucky last week. Again, who is clearly pretty good, but they can't afford to drop 2. I think they win, and I think they cover. I think Jackson Dart comes out, puts a good game together. They spread the ball around, and they find a way to win this game by 10+. Give me the Rebs. All right, number 4, Tennessee at Arkansas. I thought about going upset alert here, but I'll stick with the Vols to win, but it is a night game. Arkansas is better than their record. They've dropped 2 games. They could easily be 5-0. Instead, they're 3-2. They blew a game against Oklahoma State in the non-conference. They easily could have beaten Texas A&M at Jerry World last week, dropped that game. Tennessee, 13.5-point favorites. That's too big on the road. Arkansas's quarterback, Taylon Green, he's very up and down. He's kind of a roller coaster, but he's pretty dynamic. He's 6'4", 230. He can run. He's got a strong arm. If he could put together some explosive plays, I think Arkansas can hang around. I like the Vols to win. I like the Hogs to cover. Last one here, College Game Day in Berkeley. Can't tell you the last time that happened, if ever. Number 8, Miami, who won the controversial game of the year last week against Virginia Tech on that Hail Mary that got overturned. At Cal, little ACC after dark. Still weird to say that. 10:30 Eastern on ESPN. Miami a 10-point favorite. I like Cal to cover in this spot, and it wouldn't shock me if they beat them. I got to think Miami will be pretty focused, though, after escaping last week. I think the Hurricanes win. Cam Ward's too good, but Frankie Mendoza, learn the name, Cal's quarterback. He's a pretty good player. I started watching him a little bit last year when he kind of took over as the full-time starter midway through the year. He's pretty solid. I think he'll make some plays here. I like Miami to win this game, but it would not shock me if Cal hung around and even won. I think 10 points is way too many. Cross-country flight, night game. I don't know what to expect from that Cal crowd. In recent years, it's been non-existent, but maybe with College Game Day being there and a top 10 opponent in town, they'll show up. We'll see. Big spot for that program with an opportunity to pull off a major upset. All right, there you go. College football week 6 coming at you. Some games tonight as well. Thought about going to watch my alma mater, TCU, play tonight in Fort Worth against Houston, but got to stay at home, watch that game at the crib. Shout out your favorite college team in the comment section below, your alma mater, or if you didn't go to college or haven't yet gone, just let us know who your favorite team is. And hey, don't forget to subscribe to For Verts NFL college football show here on YouTube. Would love to do more college content. If you would like that, hit that sub button, drop a like on this video, and we'll see you next time.